Welcome to the Writer's Room for Run Radio. My name's Trina Wilcox, and today my guest, Dart Joseph Ravine. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
I am really excited to start talking about all the things that you are doing, you've done. Something that caught my eye when I see kindness, I always stop down because I think we could all use a little more kindness in the world. So you've got something called Kindness for Success. Tell me how
Yep, and
that.
even in my office, you see, do good, kindness is trending.
Yes.
That's what I hope to also tell people about that. So Kindness for Success, it used to be an online store, but now it changed to an online movement and a media and news company. So the goal of it is to also feature, stories and quotes about positivity and kindness and helping people because I really want to build trust and build faith in humanity to show the world that there is good people and that we can have faith and trust that good people will be in the life and that we don't always think of the negative because you know how news tends to be on the negative side. So I want to do something different by showing only positive news, and Kindness for Success is here for that.
I have to say, when I first saw Dark Joseph, I'm like, well, wait a minute. And then I saw the kindness. And to me, I think those are kind of opposites. So how did that name come about? And how does that fit into your kindness movement?
So my name, Dark Joseph Ravine, it actually is poetic. It's theoretical. Like if you ever took English or philosophy, you would learn about the in-depth meaning of something. And my name, Dark Joseph Ravine, I'm called Dark Joseph Ravine because the idea is to fight against dark by putting light into the world. You know how in poetry, if you said something like you put light upon on the darkness, it means you're putting positivity and kindness and good things in the world. If you think of it poetically and theoretically, and theory is a very huge when it comes to writing, as you mentioned.
So when did writing start enter into your life? Have you always been writing, or is this something new that you wanted to take on?
Well, when I was in high school, I was always told that I was a very bad writer and that I would never amount to anything in the writing industry. And so I really tried to persevere and I tried to be more natural and I tried to see how I might be able to do a good job. And I managed to master it. And, here's my book. Kindness,
Okay,
Watch Out, It's Nolan.
tell me about
Children's.
it.
So this book, Watch Out, It's Nolan, is really to teach our future generation, so the children, also adults as well, that bullying is never okay. If you see that a
Right.
little closer.
Yes.
It also teaches at the very end, all the kids are getting together and they're saying, be kind. And so, the idea behind this book is to really teach people that your actions have a way of coming back to you and that, treat people the way you want to be treated and to understand how powerful karma is because, people, they never think long term in the future. They think, oh, if I do good, I'll never get good in return, or if I do bad, I'll never suffer. Or, these are things that people really have to think about that all your actions have a way of coming back to you and it may not be right at the instant, but it could be in the upcoming future. And so this is what I really hope to teach people about understanding that being a bully, your whole life could be ruined, and by being a good person, your whole life could be all green lights and colors. Sometimes people in the media portray that you have to be nasty to succeed or you have to do bad to go viral. It's false. It's wrong. I want to teach people you can be a hero, you can be good, you can be a good role model for our future generation and make the world great. So why not we try that? Because, many people are too much on the negative side than the positive. So why not we try something positive for once and see maybe you might do something that's out of this world.
So do you have experience to speak into that book? Were you on the receiving end of bullying or always just kind people?
I was more on the receiving end of bullying, but I don't deny that my behavior wasn't great growing up. But I mean, kids are kids and kids do all kinds of stuff like that. But you know, the bullying I suffered, it kind of just didn't make sense. It was very illogical. Like I was getting attacked for literally the dumbest things in the world. Like, for example, introducing myself to people I don't know, or patting someone on the back, giving them a congratulations. They blew up and tried ruining my life for that. Stupid.
Just
Excuse my
picking
language.
at you for anything.
Yeah, and so, to me, I'm like always saying, unless something is life-ruining and critical, why are you making something that's this small, this big? So I grew up with a lot of that, more people that were making things bigger than they are. And
So,
so that to me was huge bullying because when you think about all the worst things that happen in the world, and I learned this from celebrities, no matter how upset that you get about something, always remember that the needs of other people outweigh your own. As in, like, there's people that are starving, that have no money, no food, are going through hard times, and at least you're not in that situation. So why are you getting angry and mad and fuming? You know what I mean?
so were you always good at letting that roll off of your shoulders, or did it take work for you to kind of
Oh, it
change
took
that
lots of
person?
work.
How did you
It took
do that?
lots of work. Yeah, no, I want to tell you, I had a moment of depression and unhappiness in my life, and I had frequent crying and all kinds of hard things that I struggled as a child. And as I found happiness over the years, it was great. I want to tell you that, this started this year, working with my publicist, Tracy Lamori, giving her a shout out. She was great, and she definitely helped me on many levels. My life changed completely because of her. And I became much, much, much happier because I got to meet new people like you, for example. And I love meeting people. I love, getting to compromise with people, talk to people. And it's a good feeling for me, when we give each other credit for everything we do. I like that.
What made you decide to start writing about it, and how long did it take you to do the book?
So originally, it took me about a year to write the book because I had to do an editor. I needed an editor and other things that we had to deal with when writing a book. Every author has that. And originally, I was supposed to publish it in 2020, but because of coronavirus, I didn't end up doing that. So we published it this year. My agency published it this year. And it's currently available at like Barnes and Noble, Walmart, Amazon, a few other book companies around the world picked it up as well. And we're hoping to really spread the message to our future generation because, I'm thinking I struggled as a child and I wouldn't want anybody else to go through the things I went through. And, if I could be that role model for the sake of helping our future generation, I would want to do that
Yeah.
above anything.
Nothing's worse than going home and feeling so bad about something somebody said at school. And one of the things that I felt before social media, it was good. We could turn it off. And now there's that, it's hard to turn off a lot. So are you able to give any words of wisdom to parents or kids, anyone that is having trouble getting away from a bully
Oh,
because of
absolutely.
it being everywhere now?
Absolutely. And I'm glad you're asking me that because to tell you the truth, a very good way to get away from bullying, in my humble experience, is to, maybe sit with the parents of the bully and find out what's triggering this kid to bully. You know what I always tell people, get to know the background story of somebody before passing judgment upon them and things like that. I always think that it's good to find out what's causing a certain person to behave that way. Are they hurting inside? Are they unhappy because of something in their life? I always think that every bad action has a story behind it. And I feel like if we can find out that story and find out how to change that story around and make it more positive, then I think we can really make a difference and we can really change a life that way. So I always say to everybody, parents, teachers, students, kids, always get to know someone's background story and then see how you can change that and make a difference because you never know what anyone's going through these days.
That's very true. Did you enjoy the writing process?
Very much so, because it really gave me the power to tell people what I'm most passionate about in kindness for success as well. So you see how I connected everything all together into my life, plus, teaching our future generation to teaching about how kindness can create success in the future.
Talk a little bit about your Guinness World Record.
Yeah.
The fun fact about you. So, you hold the longest line of arcade tickets.
Yes.
Where did you come up with that idea?
So I've always loved to play at arcade places that have like redemption arcade tickets, you know, like where you put a coin in and then you get tickets for prizes. I've
Right.
always loved that for many, many, many years in my life. However, over the years now, they do more electronic tickets. So now it comes more on your card instead of them printing out paper tickets. Luckily,
Okay.
I did it at a time where paper tickets was still active, but they discontinued it. So now it's a lot harder to replace the record. I did something I thought of
Ah,
as smartly, if you know what I mean.
how long was it at the end of the day?
It was a total of 360,000 tickets, and we had to complete it within a period of 4 hours. We needed a surveyor as well as a videographer and photographers, and it cost a lot of money to actually do the Guinness World Record. I had a failed attempt, though. Don't get me wrong. I
Yeah.
had a failed attempt at the beginning because we tried doing it outside, but the wind kept blowing everything. And so
Oh,
because that didn't work, we stopped in the middle and then we decided let's go to an arena that's very big to do this because that might be more beneficial and we do it indoors. So we did it the second time at the sports arena close to where I live. I wouldn't say completely, but almost. And we did the same thing we did outside the second time and we got the record. We succeeded.
now did the tickets have to be intact all the way through, or could you? I mean, because I would think a roll would eventually run out at each machine.
Yeah, of course. We had to do some kind of attachment, but it was very strict. Like we couldn't use
Ah,
tape, we couldn't use glue. It had to be like, I don't remember exactly, maybe like pin
I
or
see.
something. I'm not sure exactly what we had to do, but they were very strict about the record as well. So,
That's fun. Have you ever thought about trying to get another different world record, or are you pretty comfortable with this one?
tell you the truth, I don't really feel like going after another world record. Like even if I lost the current one I had, I would not do it again.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
reason I wouldn't is because I really came to the conclusion that it doesn't matter what you do with like world record or media or publicity or becoming famous or anything like that. I feel like you can't really take off or succeed or do well unless people really really like what you're doing and are really interested because I'm not that I'm sounding a little crazy. I did think in my mind having a Guinness World Record would kind of get me in the press and change my life and good things would happen and it did. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it did get me to the start of a new life. There were people that wrote a little bit about it, but it wasn't like so huge like the other Guinness World Records
Right.
had. And so, I kind of would much prefer to go more after what I believe in, which is my kindness for success and helping people and making a difference more like that above anything and see if, we can find something that's in the trending section with kindness and it making a difference that way. And so, I really feel like I wouldn't be wasting too much money on trying to do something if it doesn't get you far in the end. When you spend money, you want to make sure it's worthwhile for you. You don't want to just be blowing money like this.
Sure. Sure.
You know?
You can invest it into something you're more passionate about.
Yes.
So when you are not writing, what does a day look like for you when you're working for the kindness for success and things like that?
So I personally am obsessed with working hard. I love to work. I wake up every morning. I say my prayers. I go right straight to work, and I'm on the computer doing research, doing articles. Because we have a press coverage section on Kindness for Success where we're accepting editorial submissions as well as quote submissions from the public. And if we like it, we put it on our site. And if you really, really like it, then we also market it and promote it so that we can get that person who made that quote more publicly known. So it's also free publicity for anybody who might get in. But this is only if we're interested and if we like what they said. And so we always look for more opportunities and marketing and press coverage and ways we can potentially get the word out about kindness for success. And every day I'm always trying to do something new and different as well as I help my family business as well. And I also do house chores and everything like that. I love to work hard. I'm a strong believer in working hard. I think that if you don't work hard, you don't really get anywhere. And so I love working.
Will you be putting out another book?
I'm thinking maybe hopefully if this one does well in the years to come, then maybe I'm thinking I probably will. I just think that, for me, I'm a very step-by-step guy. I'm a believer that you have to take everything one step at a time. You do something, it does well, you continue it. You do something, it doesn't do well, cease.
Where can people go to learn more about your work?
So they can contact my team, sales at kindness for success by djr.com on the Kindness for Success website. I'd like to also say we're also doing a PlayStation 5 giveaway that's now in session right now, currently. And they can also contact my publicist, Tracy, if they have any media questions or things that they may want me for or anything like that. And yeah, and so hopefully, and if they contact my team, which is sales at kindness for success by djr.com, my team will let me know and they'll decide if they get in contact. Of course, we only contact if we're interested. That's like most people. And yeah,
So show us, for the people watching the video, the cover of the book again and read the title and tell us where we can find that.
watch out, it's Nolan. There's my stage name over here, Dark Joseph Ravine. And it's available on Amazon as well as Barnes and Noble, Walmart, Booktopia, other bookstores. It's on Kindness for Success on the site. You'll find a whole list of places where the book is available. And for anybody who does purchase the book, you also can qualify for a chance to win our PlayStation 5 giveaway.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Joseph.
Of course.